Now, your forecast first, sponsored by Matex Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
Well, look at all the overcast skies again, gray and gloomy on this Wednesday with, well, some areas that have seen a couple of little sprinkles or showers. But more than anything, it's the cloud cover across much of the state here this evening. We are going to see an uptick in the chance for precipitation, but nothing here in the immediate future through this evening. Temperatures struggling as a result of all the cloud cover. We've got readings that are only into the mid-50s right now, 54 in Effingham and 55 in Springfield. So as we go throughout the rest of this evening, expecting the clouds to be around. Rain showers again increasing and thunderstorms tomorrow. We'll talk about the severe weather threat for your Thursday when we come back. WCIA 3 News starts right now.
Now on WCIA 3 News.
It's a test that shows you may have been exposed to coronavirus, what it means to have antibodies in your system.
Thousands of Central Illinois jobs have been lost to this pandemic. Find out which company in Urbana laid off more than 500 people.
It's part of our constitutional right to be able to exercise our freedom to go to a business.
And that's what they did today. Which one opened its doors and what happened when the deputies came?
You're watching your local news leader. This is WCIA 3 News at 6.
To move forward with the full reopening of the country, we need to do testing, and we need to do a lot of testing.
And he's not just talking about testing to see if you have the coronavirus now, but also in the past. Good evening, I'm Jennifer Roscoe. Campus Town Urgent Care in Champaign started antibody tests about 3 weeks ago. They're hoping the information they get from the test will help them control the spread. WCIA 3's Jamie Mays live in Champaign now. So Jamie, how does it work?
They do the testing right inside this building, and with a doctor's order, you can find out if you may have had coronavirus. Antibody tests are being used to learn more about COVID-19. It's a blood draw to find out if you have ever been exposed or infected with the virus.
In theory, when you get infected with a virus, your body builds antibodies and the immunity can last depending on the virus or the infection.
But with COVID-19, there are still many uncertainties.
We don't know if it's going to provide any immunity, which is a big discussion point right now. And even if it provides immunity, how long is that immunity going to last?
Campus Town Urgent Care says certain tests are better than others.
There has been a lot of bad publicity with some Chinese manufacturers that had been selling antibody tests, and the reliability of those tests was very poor. We're not using those.
Healthcare officials say they're hoping these tests will give them more information about this virus.
Nationwide, there are many large studies that are ongoing, which is going to determine, what percentage of our population has an exposure.
The government has access to all of these testing results, and presumably they're going to use that when they make recommendations as to which areas of the country they can open back up.
And if you test positive, healthcare officials say that doesn't mean you're in the clear. You should still social distance and wear masks.
I don't want this to be giving a false sense of security that you already have antibodies, so you're fine, because we still don't know that.
There's no out-of-pocket expense to get this test done. The results usually come back in 1 to 2 days. Reporting in Champaign, Jamie Mays, WCIA 3, your local news leader.
Jamie, thank you so much. In the past 24 hours, there have been 17,000 tests reported. The positivity rate is 17% between May 3rd and 10th. There are almost 1,700 new cases in the past day. That makes almost 85,000 in now 99 counties in the state. There are 192 new deaths. That is a new high. Almost 3,800 people have died in Illinois, and a third person has died in Coles County. The person was a resident at the Charleston Rehab and Healthcare Facility. The home has had 39 confirmed cases between those who live there and workers. Not all live in Coles County. Illinois public health officials are working to remove any inaccurate numbers from the coronavirus death toll. The overwhelming majority of deaths reported did involve COVID-related illness, but in a very small number of cases. Some people may have died for unrelated reasons and also had tested positive.
So we are at IDPH trying to remove those obvious cases where the COVID diagnosis was not the reason for the cause of death. So if there was a gunshot wound, an acute gunshot wound, if there was a motor vehicle accident, we know that that was not related to the COVID positive status.
Dr. Zike says the virus targets the sick and elderly, especially those who have other serious underlying health conditions. If a person died with cancer and COVID-19, they would be included in the death totals. Doctors we talk with say that data is crucial for experts to study how the virus attacks patients. And now an update for you. The outbreak isn't just costing lives, it's costing jobs too. Hundreds of those are at Flex and Gate in Urbana. Around 550 workers from their 2 plants were temporarily laid off. That happened in late March. The Illinois Department of Commerce just released the numbers. 400 of those were from their Guardian West location, 150 from their plant on University Avenue. Flex and Gate makes automobile parts and accessories. Here are new details. The gym in St. Joseph is now open despite getting a cease and desist order. The CU Public Health Administrator posted it on the door last night. WCIA 3's Karina Rubio talked with gym members and its lawyer about what reopening means.
The governor's 5-phase plan for reopening Illinois is receiving pushback from politicians and businesses across the state, including one in St. Joseph. The Zone Gym is getting help from attorney Thomas DeVore. He sent a letter to CUPHD several days ago stating that the gym was planning to reopen if it did not take formal legal action against it. DeVore says instead of a response, he and his client were met with a cease and desist order. Just as it planned, the Zone did open up its doors at 8 a.m. to gym members. The first member that walked through the doors says he's in full support of his gym reopening. He says the Zone is meeting safety standards and providing masks to the people that want one.
There are very few people in here, and we're not at risk. We know what we need to do to be healthy. So does the gym. So I think it's part of our constitutional right to be able to exercise our freedom, to go to a business, to work out, and continue life as it has been.
Shortly after the first few members walked in, the sheriff and health department followed, but came back out minutes later. DeVore says he did not appreciate officials intimidating his clients or their customers.
That's one of the most egregious actions I've had by any of the 100-plus clients I have trying to open their businesses fairly and respectfully.
DeVore is helping businesses reopen across 40 counties. He says if the health department believes the Zone is a health risk, it must close them in a legal manner instead.
I respect that. Please have your state's attorney file what's called an action in quarantine. The law provides, and we will be in court, and the honorable court will make a decision.
In St. Joseph, Karina Rubio, WCIA 3, your local news leader.
Now, the Champaign County State's Attorney responded late this afternoon saying the cease and desist notice was the first step in the process. Given the response from the business and its legal counsel, we are working with CUPHD and appropriate state agencies on next steps. Several other Zone locations have also opened for business. That includes a gym in Shelbyville. The governor has clearly laid out his stay-at-home order extension. The question is, are police going to enforce it? And also tonight, it's been the site of more than 20 COVID deaths. What they did to try and raise the spirits of people at one retirement home.
And all of this cloud cover really kept the temperatures down again, but we're free of any widespread rainfall, at least for right now. Let's recap today. And 59 was the high, 40, the low temperature there, and still running well below normal. But we're going back above soon. Unfortunately, we have to talk about the severe weather and the rain chances that come along with that when we come back.